try
You
to.
could now.
Okay.
There you go. Now you got it. Excellent.
Okay.
Good. You can have that. Excellent. All right. All right. Here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. This must-read memoir is called "The Girl Who Survived Auschwitz," co-written by Etty Alboim, who joins us on Canada Now. Etty, it's really good of you to join us. Thank you.
Thank you for hosting me.
Of course.
If your permission, I would like to start saying a few words about the situation in Israel now, because we are in a worse war, a difficult war.
And you're there right now, right? You're in Israel
I'm
right
not
now.
near Gaza. I live near Tel Aviv, but we have bombed like here. We have alarms sometimes. It's a terrible time for us because we so ashamed to the humanity that people behave like this, like the Palestinians, like they murdered family and burn and slaughters babies and children and take them as hostiles to Gaza. It's a shame for the humankind to behave like this. It's worse than animals. But I have to say that we in Israel, we have a great spirit. We try to be strong. We understand that this war is not only for the Israel people, it's for all the world, because we have to beat the terror. We have to show the world that terror can be so violent. People can behave like this. And we very, very exciting from the support of the President of the United States, Joe Biden. His speech yesterday made us very exciting that the world with us, because this is not only the war of Israel, it's the war. We fight for all the world to beat the terror, to bring the good to the world, not the evil, to beat the evil.
Yeah. Have you been personally affected, Etty? Like, have you had any family that's been in a terrible situation one way or another?
Bless God, we fear. We have a lot of fear because my son and my son-in-law also in the war. So we have a personal fear. We hear neighbors. Yesterday, our neighbors buried their son. We have friends that buried their son. It's very sad. It's personal sad. It's national sad. But we have to be strong. We try to be strong.
Yeah.
We try very much.
And with your day-to-day life, like you talk about your proximity to where the conflict might be, but how has your day-to-day life been affected? Are you still able to do the things that you would normally do every day living where you are?
Now no. The children don't go to school. I have 6 children. They've grown up. We have 3 grandchildren, and they don't go to the school. So my daughter came with her children to live with us this week. Maybe we don't know how much time it will take. So the children without children garden, it's hard. We have to take care of them. It's hard time. We don't work. We can't work. We can't concentrate. We see all the time TV. It's hard time.
Yeah.
You can't concentrate in anything.
Of course not. Have you thought, and I'm going to make it sound like it's easier than it is, and it's not.
Yes.
But have you thought about leaving? Has the idea of moving ever crossed your mind?
No, not at all. Israel is our house. We don't have another house. We don't have another home. No, this is my country. This is my place. We all together. We don't leave. We have nothing else to. From the Holocaust, we don't have a place to go. This is our home.
Do you feel helpless at all, or do you feel that there is action that you can take? I mean, here we are on the radio, and you're talking about it, and that's something. But do you feel helpless, or do you feel like there's anything you can do?
No, we don't feel helpless because we have a strong army. We have a strong government. We have a strong spirit. We have a strong people around us. We feel strong. we know our mission is to beat the terror. We very determination in this. I don't feel helpless. In the first day, of course, we were shocked. And yesterday when we heard we didn't thought it's so much big, the terror, but when we understood that they murdered so many people, it's heartbreaking. It's hard to believe. But we got together and we're strong. We stay here, we fight, we will win.
Yeah. Well,
with God help.
Of course. Well, good on you for having a positive attitude through unspeakable circumstances that many in the world would not even begin to understand. I nod and I look like I understand what you're going through, but I don't. I don't, because I haven't lived it. And in particular with your situation, because you wrote your book, as we mentioned, The Girl Who Survived Auschwitz. You wrote this book with your mother, Sarah Liebowitz, The Girl Who Survived Auschwitz. And we'll talk about your mother, but you have been affected through your mother's story of survival. You have been affected as well. Now you're going through this. How is this situation specifically affected you, given what your mother has been through and understanding her story?
I don't measure the Holocaust to anything, because the Holocaust is an event. It happened. It's one event.
Sure.
I'm strong person. I don't go in the mind to the Holocaust when there is war here. I make different.
Okay. Yeah. Right. But you would have a trauma of your own, given what your mother has survived and the stories that you've heard. Has that maybe strengthened you for what is happening in the world and what is happening in your country right now?
I think it's made me strong. I think what I grew up in a house, we had a good house. We had a positive. My parents were the amazing people. My dad passed away 15 years ago, but my mother's still alive. She's 95 years old. They were very positive people, and they made us. We grow up in a proportion and a good way of life. So I have strong today to deal with the war. Yes, I don't take it to the Holocaust.
Well, you really strike me as a remarkable, strong person, Eddie, and I appreciate getting to talk with you today. Now, your mother, Sarah, she has given many lectures over the years, but how was it for your mother to go back to this time of her life for the purpose of writing this book?
Okay, so my mother decided in the 80s, about years, she decided to be a testimony woman. It wasn't easy for her. She went to a course in a museum, Yad Vashem, in Jerusalem, and she learned how to do it. And she began to give lectures, to talk in front of a student and soldiers and communities and whoever invited her to talk. It was hard for her every time. And she went with delegations of students to Poland to show them Auschwitz. It wasn't easy for her. But she had a mission. My mother is a very strong woman, and she said she survived, so she will be a testimony woman, so she can be a mouse to the people that died in Auschwitz. She said, I saw them died, and by the heart, I told them, I will be a mouse for you. I will tell the world what happened in Auschwitz. So my mother, she had a mission. The mission made her strong. But I have to say it was difficult. And I have to say, it's not very nice to say, but I went with my mother twice to Auschwitz. I was with her, once with delegations of the family, and the second time with delegations of young people, students. And my mother, she said, I can give testimony in Auschwitz. I can tell everything, but I have one condition. I can't go to the toilet. I'm sorry to say that. It's not a toilet in Auschwitz. It was like a platform with holes, something you can't imagine even. And my mother said, the one condition is, I can't go there. So when she went to Auschwitz, she waited in the side, and the group went to see, and she didn't want to see the toilet. This
Right. That was one thing she couldn't do.
Yes, she couldn't do. She couldn't see it.
Her
Because
memories in the book are so vivid, Eddie. Like she recalls what it was like to taste bread there for the first time. I mean, the book is so straightforward, and the detail is just remarkable.
Thank you. We tried. About the bread, I can tell you that when we thought about the cover of the book, it published in Hebrew at first. When we thought what should be filmed on the cover, my mother suggested maybe a piece of bread. And we tried to do it, but it didn't look good actually. In the mind, it was maybe interesting, but I thought the bread for her was, she became so hungry in Auschwitz. In the end of Auschwitz, after 9 months there, she was weight 28 kilogram. It's almost dead. It's nothing. And she said there is a phrase in Hebrew, shame of hunger. And my father, who was also a Holocaust survivor, not in Auschwitz, he was in the army of the Hungarian and captured by the Nazis. My father always talk about the phrase shame of hunger. Who is the shame? And the shame is, he said, that when people are hungry, they do things that they wouldn't do when they not hungry. They can steal bread from each other. And my mother tell that sometimes they got every evening in Auschwitz, they got bread, a little piece of bread. And my mother always, she didn't know what to do. If to eat the bread immediately or the bread, so she will be now not hungry, but what will be to get tomorrow morning, or to hide a piece of bread, but sometimes people steal the bread from her. So this is the shame, that people in the hunger steal bread from each other.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah. What an even greater meaning. So would she have more often than not eaten the bread right away, or would she have saved it?
She always tried to do something. She tried this, she tried this. She didn't know what to do. She did something else.
Dependent on the day, of course, under the circumstances. And let's talk more about your mother's story. Born in the Czech Republic, and at 15, she and her entire family arrived at Auschwitz, and within minutes, her mother and 5 younger brothers were taken directly to the gas chambers. She saw her father several more times through barbed wire fences, and before he was executed within a few months. 70 years later, she's writing this book with you. And your mother spent 9 months there before liberation. How and why was your mother spared? I mean, how did she survive?
Okay, it's a big question.
Sure.
The answer is God answer. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know. I do think. First of all, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. God decided she will live. But also she did something. She told me that she always tried to keep a low profile, not to argue with people. Sometimes, even when someone steal her bread, or it was sometimes she woke up in the morning without shoes because someone stole her shoes in the sleeping. She saw that when other people fighting, there is also come someone. The Blokova was the woman that keep them, or maybe the capo. Someone came and shoot the 2 people that argued. So my mother said, I want to be quiet. I don't want to argue with anyone. because she saw that it's not good to make noise, it's better to be silent. So
Yeah,
she
not
said,
not be noticed, not be noticed
noticed.
one way or
Yes.
another.
So
Yeah.
this was her way, to be very, very quiet, not to argue with people.
Yeah. You're hearing all this about your mother. Like, would you have been hearing these stories throughout your childhood? Would you have heard about this, your mother's story, your father's story,
Yes.
when you were a kid? Would they have shared these stories when you were young?
Okay, when we were young, me and my two sisters, my two elder sisters, we knew about the Holocaust, of course. My mother has a number on her hand, a tattoo number. Of course, we heard, we know, we have a very little family. I didn't have grandparents.
Yeah.
I had only one uncle and two cousins. We were a very little family. So of course we knew when I was child. Sometimes my mother screamed from sleeping when I was child. So my father said, "Mommy has a bad dream." I knew all the childhood I knew, but just when I became 15 years old, I asked my parents to hear the story in order to hear it everything. It was in the 70s, and I was in school, and they brought into the school, in the program of history, we learn about the Holocaust. So I came home and told them, I learned in the school on Holocaust. I can hear, I have patience, I can do it, I can hear a story. And they, at first, they didn't know if it's good to tell. They were afraid maybe I will have a trauma.
Yeah.
But they saw I'm strong, and they started to tell me. So from the age of 15 until today, they tell me all the time. Yes, I heard the stories.
So for writing this book, I mean, it's upsetting. All of it is upsetting. But you were able to write this book and do what you felt was right in sharing your mother's story.
Yes, for writing the book, it was time. We wrote the book about 10 years ago. I came to my mother about a year. Every week I came with a video camera, and I'm a journalist, and I'm a writer. It's lucky for me that I'm a writer in a big publish house in Israel, maybe the most or the second famous publish house. So my mother said, you're a writer, you're a journalist, let's do it together. She all the time she wants to write a story, but she wrote songs, poems, but to write a story, a big story, she wanted my help. So I came with a camera in about a year, and together I interview her and ask her a question, and it was the first time. It was different from the hearing in age 15, because in age 15 they didn't tell me in the order. It was sporadic, a story here, a story there. When I sat with her 10 years ago to write the book, we did it by order. I stopped, I asked, I brought my journalist in me to the mission.
Yes. Would your mother, by the end of writing this book with you, might she have felt some sense of relief that this would have been somewhat cathartic for her to go, wow, we said we were going to write a book. It's something I've always wanted to do, and now it's done, and now it's there for everybody to read. Did she feel good about that?
Yes, of course. There is a funny story. One day I called her in the evening several years ago, and I asked her, Mother, what are you doing now? And she said, what the question? I read my story. She read her book. Yes. I think she felt very good that the story is going to the world. It was her mission.
that's quite something that she would go back and read the
Yes.
book on her own,
Yeah.
to read what you both have written. How has it been for you, Etty, to have become an advocate for your mother's story?
It's a right for me. I did it
Yeah.
by love. I'm part of the mission. It's not easy. It wasn't easy for me also. But I did it. I'm happy. Not happy, but it's good I was strong to do it.
Good for you. Yeah. And
Yeah.
we're glad you did, and we appreciate it. The Girl Who Survived Auschwitz, by mother and daughter Sarah Liebowitz and Eddie Elboim. Eddie, we can't thank you enough for joining us and for writing this book. And please extend our gratitude to your mother for telling her story, and our very best to you and to all of your family. We wish you safety and happiness and love, and we're with you, and we hope for nothing but good things. So please stay safe and take care.
Thank you. And we hope the good in the world will win, because we don't want terror. We want good in the world, to all the world.
Eddie, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. I really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate
Okay.
it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please stay safe, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, Eddie. Bye now.